E ngā raurangatira Māti hei Māori ora, ingoa te kaihautu o Ngāti Kahungunu ki Poreke. Whānau katoa, ngā tāne, ngā wahine, ngā tamariki, ngā rangatahi, ngā mokopuna. My name is Jo Taite, and I have the privilege of being the Chief Executive for an organisation called Ngāti Kahungunu ki Poreke Community Services. Our job is to help people to find dignity and value in their lives. We're a kaupapa Māori service. What that means is huge responsibility placed on our shoulders, Because what you all know sitting in this room is that Māori make up, are overrepresented in all of the deficit statistics across every sector, including begging. And lots of people are interested. Because begging is quite visible. Anything that's visible, obviously, is a major problem. Begging, just like homelessness, is a symptom of a longer-term, larger issue. I have turned up in meetings where 16 service providers sit around a woman and her 4 children. Begging is not the issue, it is the symptom of something larger. Because within the service, the scattergun services approach, many of the services are not even aware of what each other are providing. In terms of the strategic leadership group, actually central government and commercial partnerships I think are really important in this space, because central government has a moral obligation to all of the people here in New Zealand. They have a role to play. So what's been done? We went out and we approached a lot of central government agencies, and I want to acknowledge you in the back there, Chris, actually, to ask them, you know, we've got this kaupapa, come and be involved. The consistent answer was, yes, we will. The consistent question was, how do you want us to be involved and what do you want that to look like? That the issues that are being created in our societies currently sit in their statements of intention and their strategic priorities. What we've done through our work is actually highlighted those and made them and emphasised them. They're already in your work streams, guys. And here's how we can take that and implement it underneath the Te Mahana strategy. I'm talking about the NGO and community groups, the CEOs of those organisations. The opportunity that sits within those leaders, though, which has been written into your begging reports, is that reactive solutions are required, and these are the groups of people to create them for you. Help them push forward the kaupapa that sits within Te Mahana, because they're ready for it, they're hungry for it, they've always been there for it. MB has driven a policy about results-based accountability. Also, whānau ora talks about you need multiple organisations around the table to change the circumstances for our whānau. And how to make outreach less general, more specific, more targeted, and some of the results out of outreach, how we can make those more measured. The last one is about case management, and I realise I've got 6 seconds now. It's already working. The problem for us and the challenge is that currently we have 2 dedicated FTE. We've had 139 referrals directly into Te Whakamura. At the bottom of my slide it talks about data, collecting information. We're looking at a system that will unify and collect good, clear data so that that data can be shared. We still need to develop the protocols, the procedure. I just wanted to end with this whakatauki because it gets bandied around about children all the time, that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to wrap manaaki tautoko and aroha around its most vulnerable citizens. How a city treats its most vulnerable, marginalised people, that is the measure of a fantastic community.
10 minutes, Inspector.
Good morning, councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Great presentation, the previous one. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Some very helpful insight going forward. Referring to the report, yes, have read it and very insightful. Let me say I'm not going to stand here and pretend I've got all the answers, because I don't. It's a multi-complex issue, a social issue that I think everyone has to come to the party to and find some recommendations and a way forward. In saying that, again, they referred to the two parties involved, the receiver and the giver, for suggestions maybe that we need to do a really good education package around the giver. There's no doubt about that. Wellingtonians are very, very generous at times with their money. Seen it myself on a Friday, Saturday night down in Courtney and Blair. People send a lot of spare cash and it gets thrown at the beggars. What do we do about that? So there's a lot of work to be done in that field. The beggars themselves, obviously there's a lot of underlying issues there. We're not going to solve those overnight, and there's got a lot of people involved to actually gain some ground on those people, and what can we do to those people. The questions I ask, and they're probably questions that people don't really want to look at or hear, is around, we can put a lot of time and effort into these people, which is fantastic, and support them, but at the end of the day, if they keep going back on the street and beg, what are we going to do about it? As a community, as a city, and as keeping our city safe, and our people in the community feeling safe. A lot of anecdotal evidence I have around people being engaged by beggars, not the ones sitting down the street with a little sign, but the ones that work in teams of 2 and 3, and approaching ladies outside supermarkets and asking for cash. Clearly they're a team effort. They don't go far enough to be a criminal offence, but where does that lie around safety in the city? So that's a question I ask. A lot of those people also that I've spoken to that have been accosted by beggars, myself included, outside the railway station, they don't want to go and make a criminal offence. They don't see it lies there as a criminal offence, but they don't feel safe either. So what do we do about that? What can we do? It's a question I ask. Again, we go back to what if we work with some of these beggars and they don't want to engage? They rather just sit on the street. They don't want to engage with social services. What are we going to do with them? That's a question I ask. And last thing is, we might see that the giving of money is all well and good. Unfortunately, we do have people out there that will tax the beggars, and we know who they are. They're people that we know that hang around the streets, the Cuban Mall. They're criminals, but they tax the beggars. So every $2 Wellingtonian might put in the hat, $1 of that's going to some criminal sitting down the road waiting for that hat to fill up. Do the public know about that? Again, it comes back to our education of the giver. We need to educate the givers big time. So in saying that, and wrapping up, this is something that we need to look around. Is there a high-level governance group that needs to sit across this, looking at all the multi-agency groups that could be involved? And the presentation just for me was a fantastic one. Can we better engage with all these groups around a good, solid governance group that can make decisions going forward for the safety of the city? I've been doing all my own research as well around some of what's happening around the world, what other cities have been doing, and again, if you look at some of that research, banning begging in the city just doesn't work. We see that around the world. But what do we do to those that don't engage, or those that may engage for 3 or 4 months, and then decide to go back and sit on the street? What are we going to do? How are we going to address that as a community?
Mike Busker suggested a licence like buskers have. Do you think that might be slightly beneficial or not?
Not so sure how I want to comment on that, but at the end of the day, how are you going to police that? How are you going to enforce that? What are the rules around that? Who's going to look after that? Something that needs to be worked through. I'm not sure if that would work, but again, it's around as a community group and as people how we go forward on that. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if that would work. But some of the issues you may also face is around the beggars on the street. Sometimes we might look to engage with them. They don't want to engage with us. They don't have to. So we don't know who they are. Some of the social services may know who they are. So it's probably teaming up a bit better and working better together as per that previous
Sounds like a good recommendation. Thank you.
Well, at the end of the day, where do you draw the line in the sand with some of these people? And they've got some real issues. No problem about that. But where do you draw the line in the sand around safety in the city and the begging?
Thank you very much. And look, I agree with a lot of what you've said, but I am a little bit concerned to hear that you think there's some choice around whether people accept help. If people are dealing with poverty, with drug and alcohol abuse, with racism...
Question, Councillor.
So where's the choice if they're not engaging? Maybe they can't, or they've got good reasons for not doing it too at times. So I'm just wondering, are you sort of, is there a risk of it? It sounds like we are blaming the people who are not engaging with us when they don't have a capacity to.
No, I'm not putting blame on anyone here. Those people clearly need our support and we need to give them that support. However, there will be people out there that maybe not want to engage. how do we as a community work through that, not stop them from being beggars on the street?
Ronan Carson from the Newtown Residents Association.
Good to see everyone, and it's a real issue we're having in Newtown. My name's David Wilcock. I've been in Newtown with our business, family business. We have 2 daughters, teenage daughters, and at times they fear to go to the shops because they ask me, can you accompany me to the shops, please, Dad? So we see it on a day-to-day basis. We see the people sitting there. We have the people also who are what we call the street savvy con artists as well. So it's been getting worse. It's been evolving. We see the people actually getting more street savvy and getting more brazen in the way they approach people as well. And of course we need resources to go with that, and we feel we're lacking some of those resources. And I'm pleased with what the police say, and we agree with the police with what they've had to say. But we feel we're let down by the police. We've tried hard to keep a police station, to keep a community constable, in the true sense, a community constable. When do we see the police in Newtown? Two when we call them on the phone, and at times it's too late, and it's frustrating. Businesses, particularly around the mall, we started off with maybe one or two. Now we're having 5, and they're congregating a gauntlet of buskers, beggars. Actually, the buskers have gone. The beggars are left. And it's not so bad the person who holds out the bowl with a little sign, but it's when the person approaches you and confronts you. Now, yes, the police will say, well, why didn't you report it to the police? It's too late by the time I hear it. Now, she gave them money because she wanted to get rid of them. There's cases where people have opened their wallets, or they've been standing next to the money machine, where people have been accosted by 1 or 2 individuals, brazen individuals who won't take no for an answer. They get angry, they get aggro, they get confrontational. It's not confined just to Newtown Mall, it's the whole of Newtown. But particularly in the mall, we've got them outside the mall confronting people trying to get through the entrance. Donald will send out a staff. The staff are confronted by 2 individuals who won't take no for an answer, they won't move on. They then become angry, and then the staff are being advised, call the police if this happens. The police are called, and they stay around and they wait for the police to arrive. As soon as they arrive, they slink off and disappear. But there's a willingness to want to work and help the community, and I know there's individuals in there who are begging, and some of the worst offenders. Now I can work with them on an individual basis, and I can report back to them and say, look, this is what they're doing. But when they get kicked out of that institution for bad behaviour, misdemeanours, they don't follow the rules, then they go on the streets and it's open slaughter. There's no control on these people. These are the people I'm concerned about who are in our communities who we have no control of. We have to have measures to control these people with antisocial behaviours. We've done this before when we had, very successfully, the liquor ban in Newtown, and it put a stop to it. Now, why can't we have a begging ban? It will work. Now, people say it won't work. To what degree? I believe it will have a significant impact to protect our communities. The vulnerable, the old, the young. Should we accept this as part of our community? We certainly shouldn't. Our businesses are wasting their resources. We're losing money. People are not coming to use our business because they're put off. This is what's happening in the mall particularly. People don't want to be confronted. I've got a question for you all. I've heard that the liquor ban is going to be lifted. Is this correct?
Dave, we don't normally take questions in these sessions, but we are reviewing central government legislation is saying to us that we are required to review all of our liquor bans.
Right, I'd like to push and strongly hold that we keep the liquor ban, particularly in Newtown, because if we let that liquor ban go, then it's open slaughter in Newtown.
Have you had detailed discussions with the police on this as to how they can better handle the situation?
We would like to, but we don't have a police constable in Newtown. And the police constable, when we do want to call the police, we've lost that connection. We've been engaging, and I think on part of our community, we've been very engaging in the past, and since we've lost our police constable, that relationship has been lost.